Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through the sources so you don't have to, bringing you the key insights fast. Today we're tackling a name everyone knows, or thinks they know, Hercules. You picture the muscles, the lion's skin, the big club, right? Superhuman strength. But that picture, it barely scratches the surface. There's so much more going on. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today, it isn't just about the strongman stuff, the monster fights. We want to go way beyond the brawn. We're looking at a story that's actually much darker, way more complicated, and honestly, surprisingly human. This is really about madness, guilt, a tough road to redemption, and, what it all might mean. We've got some great sources lined up.
It's so true. Those classic tales, they're exciting, sure, but they often skip the depth, the real human struggle in his story. Our sources really dig into that, showing there's just so much more beneath the surface than just, feats of strength. It's a story that hits harder than just epic battles. It really gets into the human condition.
Yeah, that context makes all the difference. So to really get Hercules, we need to start right at the beginning. And it wasn't easy for him, not from day one. He was the son of Zeus, king of the gods, but also of Alcmene, a mortal woman. And that heritage, right off the bat, made him a massive target.
Precisely. And the reason he was a target is just central to everything that follows. It wasn't about Hercules himself, not really. It was all about Hera, Zeus's wife, queen of the gods. She hated him, purely because he was a product of one of Zeus's affairs. And get this, here's a fascinating bit. Our sources point out his name wasn't even Hercules originally. He was born Alcaeus.
Alcaeus.
Really? He was renamed Heracles, which literally translates to glory of Hera.
Wait, glory of Hera? The goddess who hated him?
Exactly. No. It was this a deeply ironic attempt to maybe appease her, or perhaps just a constant cruel reminder of her link to his fate. His very name tied him to his tormentor.
Wow, that changes things, doesn't it? It just shows how deep Hera's influence ran right from the moment he was named. So with Hera basically gunning for him constantly, it feels inevitable that something truly terrible would happen, which leads us to the really tragic heart of his myth.
It does. See, most people know the 12 labors, the famous tasks, but the why behind them, that's often missed. And it's horrifying. Our sources are very clear on this. Hera, in her rage, inflicted a bout of madness on Hercules. And while he was in that state, completely out of his mind, he killed his own wife and children.
Oh, God. That's unbelievably dark.
It's one of the absolute darkest parts of his story, a moment of just shattering personal tragedy.
That completely flips the script. He's not just this invincible champion anymore. He's broken.
What do the sources say about how he felt after? That guilt must have been immense.
Crippling. Absolutely crippling. The sources paint a picture of a man utterly haunted by what he'd done. He desperately needed purification, some way to atone for this horrific act he couldn't take back.
So the labors, they weren't about glory then? Not primarily, no. They were a punishment. A heavy penance assigned to him. It was the path laid out for him to try and cleanse himself, to deal with that crushing guilt. And this idea, the fallen hero seeking redemption through these incredibly hard tasks, it speaks to something bigger, doesn't it? It sort of sets up how these ancient stories often symbolize our own internal struggles.
Right. So carrying this immense weight, he starts these legendary trials, the 12 labors. And on the surface, they look like pure action adventure, killing monsters, capturing beasts. But here's where it gets really interesting, like you said. Our sources show there's symbolism packed into every single one. It's not just about muscles.
Exactly. That's the real richness here. The sources urge us to look deeper. Let's take a few examples, see how they feel relatable. First up, the Nemean lion. Okay, big, scary lion. But its hide was impenetrable to weapons. So Hercules couldn't just stab it. He had to use his smarts, plus his strength, to basically strangle it. It's about tackling something where brute force isn't enough. You need a different angle, right?
Okay, more than just punching.
Then you've got the Lernaean Hydra. Cut off one head, two grow back.
Sounds familiar.
Right. It's such a powerful symbol for those problems in life that just seem to multiply every time you try to fix them. The kind that just keep coming back. It forces you to think, okay, what really stops this? Maybe you need to, cauterize the wound, metaphorically speaking.
Stop it at the source. Makes sense.
And how about the Augean stables? Cleaning out mountains of dung, years of filth in one day. The sources suggest this is about more than just mucking out stalls. It's like a symbol for needing the strength to tackle those huge, overwhelming messes in our own lives. Maybe emotional baggage, old problems left to fester. You need serious power, maybe even diverting a river like he did to clean that up.
Wow. Okay, that one hits home.
And one more, the apples of the Hesperides. these golden apples, way off at the edge of the world. Getting them wasn't just about fighting. It was this long journey, needing endurance, cleverness, sometimes even getting help, like tricking Atlas. It represents those big life goals that seem almost impossible, always just out of reach. They demand persistence, wisdom, maybe even thinking outside the box.
It really reframes the labors entirely. They're like psychological trials almost. Now, speaking of the labors, I read something surprising in our sources. Some versions only list 10 labors, not 12. Why is that?
Yeah, that's a great point. It actually adds another layer to this whole idea of redemption and like the rules of penance. Well, the thing is, King Eurystheus, the guy who assigned the labors, he invalidated 2 of them.
Invalidated? Why?
For the Augean stables, Hercules apparently arranged to get paid for it. So that didn't count. Payment voided the purity of the task, you see.
Okay. Like a conflict of interest for atonement.
Sort of. And for the Hydra, his nephew Iolaus helped him by burning the neck stumps so the heads couldn't regrow. Because he got help, Eurystheus said, nope, that one doesn't count either.
So he had to do 2 extra ones to make up for it.
Exactly. It brought the total up to 12. It really emphasizes this idea that for the redemption to be truly earned, in Eurystheus' eyes anyway, the effort had to be entirely his own, pure, uncompensated, and unassisted.
That adds so much texture. It wasn't just about getting the job done, but how it was done. But okay, his story doesn't just stop after the labors, right? He keeps going, has more adventures. His life remained pretty eventful.
Oh, absolutely. The labors are famous, but they're just one part. He sailed with Jason and the Argonauts on the quest for the Golden Fleece. That's a whole other epic. He even wrestled Thanatos, the god of death himself, to bring a friend's wife, Alcestis, back from the underworld.
Wrestled death.
Yeah, and he famously dragged Cerberus, the 3-headed guard dog of Hades, up into the world of the living. That was actually one of the later labors, but still descending into the underworld. Pretty major. He was constantly busy, constantly involved.
But then there's this really strange episode, completely unexpected, where he ends up serving as a slave to a queen, Omphale. And the sources say he wore women's clothes, did spinning, while she wore his lion skin. That sounds, well, bizarre for the ultimate strongman. What was going on there?
It is bizarre, and that's what makes it so fascinating. It's a total subversion of everything you expect from Hercules. What's really interesting here is seeing how the Greeks explored themes beyond just strength. This period with Queen Omphale, it's all about humility, role reversal. Our sources do suggest it was another form of penance, yeah. Service to atone for, I believe, killing a guest friend in another fit of rage, though not madness this time.
So more atonement.
More atonement. But it's also this moment where he's stripped of his usual symbols of power. The lion skin, the club. He's forced into tasks, seen as feminine, subordinate. It's not necessarily showing weakness, but maybe exploring a different kind of strength. Like enduring humiliation, adapting, finding identity beyond the usual macho image. It's a really complex episode.
It definitely complicates the picture. And even his death. It wasn't exactly peaceful, was it? It was as dramatic as his life. His wife, Deianira, gives him this cloak. She thinks it's a love charm, right? To keep him faithful.
Exactly. She got it from the centaur Nessus, whom Hercules had killed. Nessus, dying, told her his blood would work as a love charm. But he lied. It was poison.
Oh no, so she gives it to Hercules.
And when he puts it on, probably after a victory, feeling triumphant, the poison activates. It starts burning into his skin, causing just unbearable agony. There was no cure, no escape from the pain. It was relentless torture.
How awful, after everything he'd been through.
So in this final act of, you could say, control or dignity, he couldn't stand the suffering. He built his own funeral pyre on Mount Oeta, and he climbed onto it himself, asking his friend Philoctetes to light it. He chose his end, facing it head on rather than letting the poison consume him slowly. A final, defiant act.
Oh wait, that's not quite the end of the story, is it? There's that final twist. He doesn't just die.
Right. This is the incredible apotheosis. According to the main tradition, as the mortal part of him burned away on the pyre, Zeus, his father, intervened. He snatched Hercules up to Mount Olympus, granted him immortality. He became a full god.
So he actually ascends, becomes divine.
Yes, the ultimate transformation. The hero who suffered so much madness, guilt, endless trials, betrayal, agony is finally elevated. He overcomes his mortal struggles and achieves divinity. It really hammers home these themes of transcendence, you know?
Yeah.
That endurance through suffering can lead to something greater. It's a powerful endnote. Grace through perseverance.
Okay, so putting it all together, beyond the muscles, beyond the monsters, What does Hercules really stand for? What's the takeaway for us?
Well, he's definitely not just about physical power. If anything, his story is about endurance. It's about the incredibly difficult path to redemption after making terrible mistakes. And it's fundamentally about the human struggle against overwhelming odds, both the monsters outside us and the demons within us. Modern interpretations, like psychological ones, see those labors as symbols for our own inner battles.
Like you were saying earlier.
Exactly. Our personal Hydra, those recurring problems that feel like they multiply, forcing us to find smarter solutions. Our Augean stables, that's the emotional baggage, the messy parts of our lives we need the courage and strength to finally clean up. Our apples are the Hesperides, those distant goals that demand sustained effort, wisdom, maybe even asking for help. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Hercules becomes this kind of archetype for facing our own challenges, owning our failures, and striving to overcome them.
That really lands differently. It makes him so much more relevant. It's like the core lesson isn't be strong, it's be resilient. Being a hero isn't about never messing up. It's about facing the mess, doing the work, and finding the strength to rise above it. So the next time you think of Hercules, maybe don't just picture the muscles. Remember the madness, the guilt, the labors as penance. Remember, he's this profound symbol of human struggle, resilience, and that long, hard fight for redemption.
And maybe think about this. Considering his whole journey, the terrible lows, the immense struggles, the eventual redemption, and even godhood, what part of that arc resonates most with you? What could his myth, this ancient story, maybe teach us about facing our own labors, whatever impossible challenges life throws our way?
Because these old myths, they really aren't just stories. They hold up a mirror to our own lives, don't they?